Hello everybody. We already know what is a point. So a point in a space is represented by a single alphabet. In this case, let's say P. So point generally has no size. So when I mean no size, we are talking about length, width and depth. A point does not have a length, it does not have a width, it does not have a depth. So what happens if I take this point and I drag it? So placing a point and dragging it along a particular direction, I get a line segment. So the starting point can be called P, the ending point can be called Q. So this is finite actually. So I started at a point and ended at a point. So this is a line segment. So instead of starting at a point and ending in another point, start at a point and trace the same path on exact same direction, opposite direction. So if I start a P over here, yeah, but at the same time, the line is being drawn on both the sides. Let's say that line is passing through the Q again, but in this case, this particular line or the path, whatever we're tracing, goes indefinitely on both sides of P and Q. So this is called line PQ and I represent it with this. So there is a representation difference in terms of line segment PQ and the line PQ. So when we say line PQ, the line passes through P and Q and it extends indefinitely. But here it starts and stops at P and Q. Could be either way. Started P, ended Q or started Q, ended P. It's the same. Okay. So this PQ line segment is actually a part of the line. So line segment is generally a part of a line. So now we took a point and we extended it on both sides, we got a line. Now what happens if we take a line and trace it on either side and extend it indefinitely? Yeah, so take a point and extend it indefinitely. I would actually end up getting plane. Yeah, I would actually end up getting a plane. So it could be either ways. So we just saw for a point, there is no size. For a line, we do have some dimension that we call length, but we don't have a width. But in this case, we have length and we have width also. But what we don't have here is depth. Yeah. So here, this we would call a 0 dimension, this would be 1 dimension, and this would be 2 dimension. When it includes depth, then it becomes a 3 dimension. So which we are not going for now. But here we saw a point can be represented with just one point. A line can be determined or represented with 2 points. So this line segment is being represented by PQ. Similarly, this line is also being represented by PQ. So how many points do we actually need to represent a plane? So if I say PQ, say a point P and a point Q over here, there could be a line. This line could lie on this plane also. At the same time, it could lie on the plane which is directly perpendicular to this or which is cutting through the plane in some angle but passing through that PQ. So that PQ could represent any particular plane which is passing through that point. So what we want is we need to represent this plane with points, but just taking 2 points, it might represent any other plane which is passing through it. So to represent this particular plane which is there on this whiteboard, we need to take another point, say R. Yeah. So now even if you are considering some other plane which is passing through PQ, you should make sure that it's passing through R also. So if we take any plane which is passing through PQ and R, then it's going to be this particular plane which is there on the board which is there here. So any particular plane would require, to represent a plane, it requires at least 3 points on the plane. So I would call this as plane PQR. It could be any way. It could be PQR or QRP or PRQ. But basically, all these 3 points should lie on the plane itself. So this is the idea of plane. Now the question is, what if the 3 lines are lying in the same line? So PQR, we just discussed there should be 3 points to determine a plane. So I am taking 3 points over here. So this again gives a complication, or we have a limitation over here because this is lying on the same plane. It might represent any plane through which it is whichever plane which is passing through. It could represent the other plane also. It could represent a plane which is directly perpendicular to this plane, or which is cutting this plane at some angle. Yeah. So we should make sure the point whichever we are choosing should not be collinear. So we know that any 3 points lying in the same line is called collinear. We should make sure we take some point which is not collinear. Now if we take some other point D, now this PDR is a non-collinear one. P, D and R. So I could call this as plane PDR. I can determine or represent this plane, whatever I have drawn here, with just these 3 points PDR. Or you could also take QDR, or again change the combination and we could have PRD. So my plane could be represented with these 3 points, but it cannot be represented with PQR because PQR is collinear and it is representing a line. That particular line could represent any plane where the plane is passing through that particular line. There are some basic ideas which I would like to discuss before actually getting into the concept. So the very first look at this particular equation, y is equal to 2x plus 3. What can we think? Okay, we just feel it's a line, right? Now let's take a look at this. So let's type the same equation over here also, which is y is equal to 2x plus 3. So what do we get actually here? We get a line which is represented by the equation y is equal to 2x plus 3. So we might actually think that we were right in the first go. So y is equal to 2x plus 3 actually represents a line. So let's just take a look at another graph before we make up our mind. So previously we saw the same graph, that is y is equal to 2x plus 3 in case of a 3D plane, that is xy plane. So now there is another axis, that is z axis. So let's see, y is equal to 2x plus 3. So if you actually see, when we're looking at xy plane, it does represent a line. But when we actually go into three-dimensional plane, the same equation might represent the plane. I mean, it actually represents the plane. So you can give it a thought why a particular equation in 2D expresses a line and in 3D expresses a plane. So now we know, just by looking at the equation, we just can't simply say whether it's a line or a plane. So we have to tell where are we actually defining. If we are defining it in 2D, that means it is going to be a line. But if we are representing in 3D, yeah, then it is definitely going to represent a plane. So whatever equation it is, we can tell whether it is representing a line or a plane depending upon which dimension we are defining it on. Now moving on to the concept. So general equation of a line is represented by this ax plus by plus c, which we already know. So one particular condition on this equation is a, b and c are constants. We can take the value of 0 provided all of them does not take the value of 0 at the same time. That means at least one of them should be non-zero. And that does make sense because if we have all 0, it's just 0 equal to 0. It's not going to represent anything. So when we're talking about plane, we are just adding one more dimension. That is, we take into consideration the z-axis. So we can actually predict that it's going to be ax plus by plus cz plus d is equal to 0. And similarly, we also make sure they can take the values of 0 provided at least one of them is non-zero. Now the question is, what happens if provided we keep this a and b constant and change the c? And what happens if a, b, c are constant here and d is being varied? Let's take a look at it. Let's consider these two examples. Let's try to vary the value of c over here and try to vary the value of d over here. Let's start with the equation where c is equal to 0. So it's going to be a line which is passing through the origin. So let's try to change the c. Let's put 1 equals 0. Okay, let's just change the constant. Let's just increase it a little more. Plus c9 is equal to 0. And let's give some negative also. Minus 11 equals 0. So what do we actually observe? We have lines which have the same slope, but they are just parallel to each other. So we can just extend this idea to the plane also. So let's see what happens in that case. So let's start with the constant d over here to be 0. Yeah, so we have a plane over here, okay, which is actually passing through the origin, which is as expected. Let's take it to be 1 equals 0. Okay, we did get two parallel planes where the distance between them is very small. Again, let's try to increase the constant. Yeah, so we again get a plane and it is parallel also. Minus 20 again equals to. So what we have again here is a set of planes whose x coefficient, y coefficient and z coefficient is same, but there another constant which determines the plane, that is d, is different. Just by varying the d, we get parallel planes. The planes just are the same, but they are parallel to each other. They are not intersecting at any point. So now let's consider a plane of a general equation ax plus by plus cz plus d is equal to 0. So if there is a point P, x1, y1, z1, which lies on the plane, this plane, then this point should satisfy this equation, right? So that means what does it actually mean? If it lies on this plane, yeah, then this should actually satisfy this equation. That means we will be having ax1 plus by1 plus cz1 plus d is equal to 0. So now we have two equations here, right? Let's take this one to be the first equation, this to be the second equation. So let's subtract 2 from 1. So what do we have? We have ax1 minus ax minus ax1 plus by minus by1 plus cz minus cz1 d minus d. So d gets cancelled. It's done. So let's just take the a, b and c common. So we will be left with a times x minus x1 plus b times y minus y1 plus c times z minus z1. That is equal to 0. And this is the 1-point form of a plane. So we do have a lot of forms, right? Like we do have a lot of equations like slope intercept form, 2-point form, equation for equation of a line and all. So similarly, this is 1-point form of the equation of plane. Yeah, 1-point form for the equation of a plane.